There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Race night, and tonight is when it could all come to a close. One race before the season finale. It's the iRacing Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup Series for your running of the Charles Shaw 200 at the Auto Club Speedway. My name is Nolan Rampa with Alfonso Dixon beside me in the broadcast booth, and Rob Melnick once again down behind the cameras for tonight's race. So we get set to go racing once again, this time around a 2-mile speedway after going to the World Center of Racing just 1 week ago. But of course, here tonight, Al, it could all come to a close as Chris Rivera enters this race 66 points to the good. And if he keeps that 66-point gap coming out of tonight's race, he'll be your champion by the end of the night.
Well, that's just going to be awesome for Chris to try to close it out that season, man, with another championship. I tell you, it's really great to be out on the West Coast, Nolan. We're out here in beautiful Fontana. I think we're going to be in store for some great racing here this evening, and just can't wait to get everything underway.
100 laps, stages the exact same as what we saw over in the Butt Kicker Cup Series race and at Daytona just 1 week ago, with stage cautions coming at laps 20 and 40 over on the night. So, as we get set to potentially kick off what could be an exciting potential championship decider, you have to wonder if some of the guys in this field might be able to make just up a little bit more time prior to the end of the season. Kenny Powell is currently the runner-up in points, as he is so far in the Butt Kicker Cup Series. And at the moment, Powell is one of the only drivers that has a mathematical chance. The only other driver that is capable of this is Josh Schaffner, but he is all the way down in third place so far in the points, 90 points behind the Chris Rivera. So Powell has got to have a phenomenal night tonight, and he also has to hope that Severa finishes as low as physically possible.
Right, so what basically Powell's going to need, he's not going to need to finish like he's had the last couple of races. He's going to need to stay clean, stay out of trouble, and actually if he wants to have a shot at that championship. But Chris Rivera, I mean, he has proven week in and week out to be the car to beat. I just don't know how well he's going to be handling tonight, Nolan.
12 drivers have set time so far. That is already more than what we saw over in the Thursday night race, where only 11 of the 24 drivers opted to set qualifying times for tonight's 26-car field. Looks like there's a few more drivers opting to attempt their way out onto the racing circuit. You talk about Chris Rivera needing the good points day to make sure that he secures his championship tonight. Second fastest so far on the timing boards for the number 62 G&G Chevrolet, looking set to potentially come away with this race strong at the end of the night.
Yeah, but you know, Nolan, it really doesn't matter where you're at when this thing starts, because you really got to keep your head on a swivel. Expect to see 3 wide racing at least, a minimum, as we get ready to go around this thing. So Severa, the key to him is going to be he's going to want to get out front and just try to stay out of trouble, because it can find you anywhere on this track, really.
17 drivers have now set times, and all but one are within 3/4 of a second of your current timing board leaders. Then there's John Mullins, 6.4 seconds off. I think it's safe to say Mullins was not necessarily aiming to go for a pole time. 60 seconds are left to go in qualifying here, and we talked about how this race had a really strong run over on Thursday night. Very, very exciting. With all that set in mind here, Al, what do you think we can particularly expect coming on over into tonight's 100-lap event?
I think hopefully some drivers will be cautious is because we are early in the 1 points event, but wrapping up the other. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get down to some good green flag racing, Nolan. I think that's going to be the key to this, and hopefully drivers can stay out of trouble and we'll be able to actually get good racing here for the fans that are watching this thing.
I certainly agree with you on that one. 20 seconds left to go in qualifying, and we get set to send these 26 drivers racing around Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, yet again, and the iRacing Stock Car Association. So as we get set to go to the starting grid for the Tucson Sound Art Series, it's time for the national anthem from Fontana.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Remember when I told all my drivers, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time? Drivers, start your engines!
John Avery starts us on pole position here tonight from the Auto Club Speedway in the Charles Shaw 200, with Brooks Durden beside him on the front row. That will put Chris Severa and Greg Wyszynski 3rd and 4th. Kenny Thompson and Mario LaPinta are 5th and 6th. Got Joshua Gathright, an ISCA rookie, coming into tonight in 7th and, P's 6th and 7th, and then Josh Schofter is in 8th. Eric Clay and Kenny Powell rounding out the top 10.
Adrian San Jose Arena's going to be in 11th with Wayne Grassi in 12th. Kyle Green 13th with Mark Johnston in 14th. Jay Hone in 15th with Joseph Causey in 16th. Barrett Uphold in 17th with Al Kozlowski in 18th. Frank Flores in 19th with John Mullins in 20th.
And that'll leave the likes of Brian Johnson, the first driver to not set a qualifying time, in 21st, alongside Paul Olson on row number 11. Gary Adamson, Ken Allen, Ryan Strunk, and Robert Pattengale going to be rounding out tonight's 26-car field from the Auto Club Speedway. So that is your Tucson Sound Art starting grid here tonight from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. 83 degrees Fahrenheit up on the track, so it is a relatively cooler track surface considering we are over in California, which could mean we're in for a bit of an interesting night then tonight, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it looks like that wind's really low, though, 2 miles per hour. That's not what these guys are battling out there in Fontana this weekend. But that's definitely going to work out in a favor for our guys as they get set to go green to flag racing here. Hopefully, Nolan, we'll be able to find out a little bit more about how this thing is going to shake out as we start to get some laps in the books. Looks like that pace car is going to go ahead and lead us on off the pit road exit here. So, Nolan, what do you think is going to be some of the things that we can look out for here tonight?
We could be having ourselves a bit of a solid run then so far here tonight. It could be an entertaining race. We're going to be in for a barn burner, I have a feeling. You got fast speeds. You got to brake, though, quite a bit coming through these corners. That means it is not all going to be about the draft here tonight, only down the straightaways, but most importantly, out of turn number 4. You had a 3-wide photo finish just well, actually not even 1 week ago, even just a few nights ago over in the Thursday night series. I have a feeling we're going to be in for similar here tonight.
Yeah, that 3-wide almost photo finish from Thursday night was nothing short of spectacular. So as we get ready to go here now, these guys are going to be looking for any kind of downforce I think that they could get, because this low downforce, high horsepower package is definitely turning out to be a little bit to handle, don't you think?
It is a bit of a it's difficult to get a handle on it, and obviously the NIS and A Open races have been far from pretty, so who knows, maybe we'll be having a bit of a better run here tonight. Pace car is now out of turn 4. We want to thank all of our viewers for joining us for more ISCA action from the Auto Club Speedway. Pace car is down and in, and that will leave it now in the hands of the iRacing starter. And as Don Avery hits the restart zone, we say it's time to go racing from Fontana.
Don Avery wasting no time taking that green flag, because he's going to go ahead and lead these guys into turn 1. Now, it's going to be interesting to see, because this isn't a track where guys are going to be trying to get in line. I think guys are just going to be racing that groove as we go ahead 3 wide here coming out of turn 4.
3 abreast out of turn number 4 and down the back straightaway. And so far, that outside lane is all the marbles to play for. Kenny Thompson just lost a lot of ground in his number 22 Toyota Camry, looking to slice up the inside of Mario LaPinta through turns 3 and 4. Down the front straightaway, you got yourselves the top 5, all single filed out. And now make that the top 7, top 8, 9, now 10. And so far, this field is looking set to settle out for what could be the long run. It is all the way back in 13th place. Things really start to get side by side. That's only until you hit the corners, though, as now they're 3 wide for the final podium position just up the road.
And now it looks like Kenny Powell's going to go ahead and get that 2-4 car dialed in, as he knows that the key to him is going to be able to get up front and collect as many stage points as he possibly can if he wants to have any shot at securing that championship.
As they rocket off of turn number 4 for the second time tonight, Don Avery, your pole sitter, continues to lead the way. You were watching a little bit 3 wide just in behind the likes of Kozlowski, Hone, and Adrian San Jose Arenas, and now into turn number 1. There's Powell looking 3 wide up the inside of Eric Kling, and Kenny Thompson diving through turns 1 and 2. Thompson's pushing up, but he has to be careful. Eric Kling has a run on the high side, and Powell's got a bit of speed on the low side as well. And it looks as though the Ultra Wings 22 Camry might be forced to tuck back in a line here.
And Powell's probably looking just for that lap, because now those tires are actually starting to heat up. So you can actually manhandle that car a little bit, if you know what I mean. So Powell wasting no time now getting that G&T Camry dialed in, as he looks like he's on a hunt to try to get up to that top 5.
Up front for the race lead, Chris Severa's up the inside of Don Avery and is going for the race lead, but he's not going to be clear out of turn number 2. Avery's got the overspeed down the back straightaway, and the number 11 car is going to be back into the race lead here on lap number 4. Down in the turn number 3, and the number 11 Camry is going to have himself a solid run here tonight, and Severa looking to run the bottom side in his number 62 machine. I tell you what, that Mustang, trouble in behind! 1 car sliding out, and it's Mario LaPinta again down to the inside line. The caution flag is out. and under yellow flags for the first time tonight, but what a save from LaPinta.
Yeah, we need to take a look and see what actually happened and caused that 13 car to get loose. Actually, looks like it was more than one car involved in that little tussle there, Nolan.
Coming around through 3 and 4, we'll take a look. They got a bit close between Powell and LaPinta, but they didn't touch. But it was into the outside wall. That's what happened for Mario LaPinta. He clipped the outside wall and came a little bit down into the likes of Eric Kling, and that sent both cars into the infield grass. But you have to admit, that's a mighty impressive save from Mario LaPinta to manhandle that car through the grass and be able to keep a lid on it. We're going to ride on board 13 car now, and I tell you what, this is going to be a wild ride through the infield.
Yeah, Kling probably didn't appreciate that contact, especially so early on. But, you know, drivers are kind of settling down, taking it easy. I didn't really see anybody being too racy. It looked like it was just a simple racing issue where he just got a little bit tight, got up into that wall, and it just sent him right back into Kling. But luckily, we only had 2 cars involved in that, and those guys early enough on here. Fortunately, should be able to get most of that damage fixed and be able to get back on without losing any laps, we're going to hope.
And you saw there the wild save from Mario LaPinta. He, of course, has a right side damage, and he is now in pit road as he finds himself increasingly more often as the races go along. Seems like LaPinta just has bad luck wherever he goes. Ultimate row this time by was Grassi, Ken Allen, and Paul Olsen. And now that those drivers get set to cycle themselves back out, we're under caution for the first time tonight. It's not uncommon to see a caution early on at Auto Club. We saw this in the Thursday night series. It's been a common occurrence in the NIS races as well. So I have a feeling they're going to get themselves sorted up again and should have a long green flag run to the end of the stage.
Yeah, we'll hope that we'll be able to get these guys get this sorted out and go back green flag racing, because that is the key. It's been a lot of patience needed to get around this track here this week. I'll definitely say that. But these guys are actually some of the best in the business. You know, that's why they are premier runners here on this Saturday night Tucson Sound Art Cup Series. So hopefully we will be able to get a lot of clean racing in, Owen.
So as we get set to potentially come back to what I believe will be 1 lap to green this time by, you've still got Don Avery leading from points leader Savera. And there you got Wachinski, Durding, and Gathright all in the top 5. And you can see the likes of Chris Savera running a bit of a more unusual paint scheme out there in this field today. And some rather notable colors of the car happen to be in the same colors as a certain country that is having a bit of a crisis over in Eastern Europe at the time being. And there was some rather interesting language on the back of that machine, happening to quote a certain individual of a certain country that has gained, shall I say, rather popular overnight.
Well, yeah, Chris Savera, definitely. It took me a minute to actually recognize that 62 car as he was running the breast cancer awareness paint scheme that we became so familiar with seeing. But, you know, Nolan, there's a lot of guys, I think, in the back of this pack that are pretty fast cars. So as the lights are off on the pace car, and we will resume a green flag racing here momentarily, I just can't wait to see when these guys shake it up a little bit and start moving to the front. Now, Savera definitely going to be aggressive and try to get that race lead, because I think he wants to be out front. That's his best chance of keeping that car clean, if you know what I mean. So as the pace car comes around turn 4,
we're going to get set to take this field back to green flag racing. Field is stacked up, doubled up. All 26 cars still on the track and still on the lead lap. As the pace car comes down in a pit road, it's no longer the hands of the racing starter now. It is in the hands of Don Avery. Slows up the field just a touch, and we're back to green flag racing from Auto Club.
Well, looks like Avery wasted no time getting an excellent launch there on that green flag. He's going to go ahead and lead this field as Savera now finds himself tucked into second place as we got three wide racing later further on back in the pack.
And so down into turn number 3, Josh Schaffner is going to try to push up from the low side and maybe see if he can secure an overtake here on Joseph Causey out of turn number 4. This could get a bit of an interesting run here for these drivers. You got yourself at a Bruzy Raceware number 88 Mustang. And Kenny Thompson is going to have a solid run. Trying to go down the inside. Oh, contact and a big stack up. Josh Schaffner gets pushed out wide. Kenny Thompson goes with him. And all of that in an accorded effect.
Yeah, Schaffner really can't afford to tear that car up. He's definitely going to want to try to find a way to keep it clean so he can actually make it a three-way run for that championship, maybe, as that 88 car now comes down on the inside. You know, the funny thing about this, as these tires do heat up, it gives those drivers that outside line has been a lot faster here this week, as it looks like that 88 car locks it up just a little bit.
And up front, the battle is on for the race lead. Chris Severa has taken away the race lead, but Don Avery's looking to get it back in turn number 1. To the inside is the run of number 11, but he slides out. The number 11 Camry stepping out the back end. That's going to put him 3 wide with traffic and now tumbling like a rock. All of a sudden, you go from trying to pass her first to trying to hang on as there's more trouble in the back of the field. And it is Ryan Strong who has gone for a spin out of turn number 2, but no caution was off the racing surface. We keep this one green. See him just firing up to 77 to go. That is Ryan Strong, the car that spun.
Yep. Okay. Marley Pinta is still in the pits as well.
He just takes the pit road. I believe that a penalty that he had to serve from a pit road infraction. We're going to take a look at the replay here. And there you see Strong just getting loose by himself out of turn number 2. Trying to save it, just overcorrects it, but at least he didn't slam it into the inside wall, so could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely, and it's good thinking on him to take that toe to keep us green flag racing as Severa continues to lead this thing. He's up there on that high line showing the way around this thing, but looks like he's going to give up a little bit of a edge there to Greg Wachinski as we have yet another lead change here with early on in the
They see Lapinza out of pit road. He's already 1 down. He's going to go 2 down here in a minute. So that means it'll be all not until the second stage of Tamara Lapinta can get back on the lead lap. But the good news is he does have those 2 cautions at least before that he can get himself back with the lead lap with. And now you can see guys like Kenny Powell looking for the inside line on Greg Wachinski. But that's not going to work for Powell. He's going to have to back it up. And here comes Severa. Looking to charge it back down to the inside line, and he's going to tuck in a line. Caution, potentially, and it's Lapinta again. Oh, look out! Oh, and he's going to get drilled by Kyle Green coming on out of turn number 4 on a big wreck out of the final corner and down the front straightaway. You're going to see Lapinta already sideways up the road and just backs it up onto the track while trying to lock it down, and that's a tremendous hit that will likely end Green's day as well.
Yeah, that 19 car just left with nowhere to go. What an unfortunate set of circumstances for him as he comes around the curve. I mean, he's coming around the corner, you know, you tucked in there. You see that smoke and you start to slow down, but of course, Lapinta just sliding right up into that outside wall and just pinching that 19 car right up in there between them. So, yeah, like I said, tough break for those guys as caution flies yet again here for us tonight.
Second caution, and we're halfway through stage number 1 as well. And to add insult to injury, I'm pretty sure Kyle Green's motor expired as a result of that mess.
Yeah, I believe Kyle Green has removed himself from the competition.
Would have been a half-hour repair at the very least. That's only counted the engine replacement, not counting, you know, all the other damage that car would have had. So he most certainly would have been out of the competition. A good number of drivers in the pit road this time by. Looking at Kling, Thompson, Johnston, Spurish, Aylen, Olsen, Green, and Lapinta. All in the pit road, but of course, Lapinta and Green are 2 very obvious candidates to come on down into pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. After that contact, hopefully though we're not going to speak it because there's some guys out there tonight that we know that we're rooting for that they don't end up in misfortune, so they can actually have a good run tonight.
Just waiting on this race to go back green flag racing, whether that will be this lap, this next lap or the one after that. We have yet to see. Running lap 14 out of 20 in stage number 1 and 14 out of 100 so far in tonight's race. We're already 2 cautions deep. First one came just 3 laps into tonight's race, and the second caution came out about 2 laps ago now. So just waiting to see what the word is going to be on the few other drivers that came down to the pit road. If any of them potentially took tires, I'm looking particularly at guys like Mark Johnson and Eric Kling, who both came down and into pit road. I believe Kling had a bit of damage, though, that he had to sort out from the opening caution of the day. I believe Kenny Thompson did take tires. And sorry, Kenny Thompson took fuel only, which I find interesting, Al. But it's worth noting that you had a few guys that are stretching into like 40 laps on the fuel tanks. I think he's trying to make it so he can make it to the end of stage 2 on fuel.
Yeah, that would be an interesting call because he probably won't need tires for that. But, you know, good luck getting past that G&G crew there as they're sitting here with a 1, 2, and 3 right now. And this is going to be for the marbles at the end of this stage. So it's going to be funny to see how Severa and Powell play this with each other because they're both really going to need to get as many points as they can. So always plenty of respect between those guys, but they have had some unfortunate luck there with the G&G teammates in the past. So hopefully we won't be re-speaking that as well.
Greg Wyszynski, race leader, is selecting the outside line for the restart. That's a bit of an interesting maneuver. Because you think, based on how the restarts have gone, the inside would be the line of choice. Not for Wyszynski, it would seem. I wonder if maybe team strategies played into the hands of this year. Seeing as Kenny Powell, his teammate, is on his inside, and as Powell, who's going for a championship.
Yeah, Roger, because Avery definitely stayed on the inside, and we saw those great launches that he was having as the lights are off on the pace car, and we're getting ready to take this thing back green flag racing with just 4 laps going to be remaining here in this stage. So 2 laps before that, before pit road actually closes. So hopefully we can get this done without another premature stage in. So as we get ready to go racing again.
Green flag is out. It's an early launch from Wyszynski up to the high side. Kenny Powell did not go. Brooks Durden anticipated that start perfectly. He's clear for the outside line. Severa looks like he's going to tuck it in line behind Kenny Powell down into turn number 1. And now Powell looking to charge high side around the outside of Brooks Durden in his Abruzzi number 31. Durden pushes up right in front of Kenny Powell. But the 24 car going to tuck it in line. Be patient here. All the way down this back straightaway. Coming to 4 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, that's exactly. Powell's definitely looking for any opportunity that he can to get that 24 car around Durden. He's not going to be patient. I will guarantee that it is time now to go. If he wants to get out there and get Severa, get out there and get Wyszynski, he's going to have to put the hammer down and make that.
Oh, absolutely. And now, as these cars exit off of turn number 2, you can still see Powell looking to duke it out with Durden around the turns 1 and 2. But this time, he's on the inside with Durden up top. But that outside lane does not take much before it really starts to pull into effect. This really is a bit of a multi-groove racetrack, right? The inside is so good in the entry of these corners. But corner exit, that top lane is where you want to be. Kenny Powell going to be trying to maybe take that second place back. Gets hit at the back end of Brooks Durden as we hit 3 to go in stage 1. What a run there for Kenny Powell. He just got completely shut down by Brooks Durden in second.
Yeah, it's but we're not done. Like I said, Powell is still going to get out there. And the cool thing about that, if your car can hook up, you can run that bottom line just fine. But some of these cars, you know, they just kind of thrown up to that high side. As Powell now is going to come around the high side, trying to look for to get a run on Durden. Looks like he's going to try a crossover move and come down to the inside. Severa coming to come with Powell. They're going to get that draft tandem coming around the turn, going into 1. Pit road is closed as we're getting ready to put this in the books. And Powell now is your race leader.
Powell leads the way down in the turn number 1. He's got Severa, though, looking to challenge on the inside line. John Mullins having to slide out behind. They're banging doors almost once and twice. Down in the turn number 3, Severa holds the bottom. Kenny Powell still running up on top, and the number 24 car is having a solid run. Here comes Severa charging from the bottom side. Powell crosses him over, though, out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway.
If there was any question about those G&G guys really racing, they are putting on a show, as they were actually 3 wide for a split second there for the race lead. Severa and Powell now neck and neck as they're coming around to turn the final time as we're getting ready to put this stage in the books. Severa going to get the run. Powell just not able to close the door, and here comes Wachinski on the outside.
And here comes Greg Wachinski now charging to the low side. And there's the likes of Kenny Powell trying to make a run out in behind. This is for the end of stage number 1. Out of turn number 4. It's gonna be Severa to pull clear, and he'll win the opening stage from Auto Club.
Wow, what an exciting stage of racing that was. As we just get this first stage in the books, looks like that running order is going to be Chris Severa, your stage winner, with Greg Wachinski second, Brooks and Dirtling third, Kenny Powell fourth, Joseph Coffey fifth, Don Avery sixth, Joshua Gaithright seventh, Josh Schaffner eighth, Al Koslowski ninth, and Wayne Agrassi rounding out your 10 points positions. We're going to now take a break, and we'll be right back.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Two drivers stayed out under this latest caution period. Those drivers are Mark Johnson and Eric Kling. Those are two drivers that, of course, did take tires under the last caution period as well. Joseph Causey was not the one to lead them down to pit road, but he was the driver to lead them out of pit road and now leads this race. We're going to see if we can't dial up your stage 1 winner, Chris Severa, joining us up in the broadcast booth. And Chris, you enter this race 66 points to the good. That's just extended out to about 71 points. That's got to be a good feeling for you, knowing that could lead to a championship at the end of the night.
You know, honestly, thinking about that, I wasn't even thinking about points actually until you just brought it up tonight. That is a great thing. I was actually just so concerned out there. I was trying to get this new paint out there, get it up front, put it in the box for everybody. So, you know, bring awareness to the whole situation over there. But yeah, 71 points is, now that I'm thinking about that, I might go to the back, especially maybe in stage 3. Just kind of like, I feel like this is going to be the stage where everyone tries to press forward and get those extra stage points. So I might be a little bit more cautious now, actually.
Well, all that, keep it in mind, you definitely have a race-winning car underneath you today, even if you take it easy for stage 2. Do you still plan to put that thing in victory lane at the end of the night?
Oh, absolutely. If I can, we're going to try and be a little bit strategic about it, because the draft is just so powerful here. You don't want to overextend and burn up your tires early, and then you'll have nothing for the leaders when you get there. So definitely just going to try and keep the car underneath us when we get to stage 3. Stage 2 here, it's a bit more of a free-for-all because it's so short. I think it's actually going to be like 15 laps. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
And before I let you go, then here, Chris, anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 62 Ford Mustang?
Big shout out to everyone in GG. Again, a lot of laps returned this week. We really had nothing to start with, so we found like an old Kentucky set that we ended up just throwing together. So everyone did a ton of laps on that to figure out what we needed. Channel 2 and Discord, shout out to you. But yeah, everyone else, you guys up there, hopefully I'm talking to you again later tonight.
And thank you, Chris, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congrats on a stage 1 win. Best of luck in stage 2.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Chris Severa joining us up here in the broadcast booth, your stage 1 winner, and none too soon. Pace Car is about to dive it on in. And now, Eric Kling gets set to take us back to the green flag. We're down and underway once again. 16 laps to go in stage number 2 as we're green flag racing once again in California.
And looks like Mr. Clean is going to go ahead and lead us away. Getting a great launch there on that restart. But now he's got to figure out how wide he's going to want to make that car, as he's going to have all kinds of challengers coming from all different directions. Like Severa said, the stage 2 here is going to really be like the Wild Wild West, Nolan.
And now banging doors for the race lead down in the turn number 1. Eric Kling getting into it with Joseph Causey down in the turn number 3, but they managed to keep it all safe and sound. You still see Chris Severa just waiting in the wings in his number 62 GMG Ford Mustang down out of turn number 4. And this is where it all could kind of come to a little bit of a head here. You can see a solid massing of these drivers now starting to form all the way from about the 8th position on back to about 14th, 15th place at the moment, where they're going double file looking for 3 wide. Down the back straightaway, Schaffner's going to try to split the middle up the inside of Johnston and Avery on the bottom.
Yeah, Grassi looks like he's just going to stick right in there, try to pull up on Schaffner's draft and pull right in there and keep that 3 wide going all the way through the turn.
And now down into turn number 1 once again, and we're again side by side for the race lead. Kling to the inside of Joseph Causey in 1 and 2. A Bruzy Racewear number 88 car gonna push up to the high side out of turn number 2, and Causey has a big run down the back straightaway. Here comes the likes of Joshua Gaithright as well, down into turn number 3. Kling still holds the bottom in his number 95 T4 Mustang, and so far you got a breakaway of about 6 cars up here in your scrap for the race lead as we get set to come to the end of the first half in the second stage of the race in just about 3 laps time.
Yep, definitely another lead change. It looks like Mr. Causey now is going to be leading this field going around. But, you know, the thing about it is, if you look further back in the field, Schaffner's just got that 5-0 car dialed in, and he's actually able to stay down there on the line. Now, I don't know if he's going to be trying to make a run up here to the front because, you know, even though these guys are running 14 laps, I got a feeling a lot of people are going to probably burn their tires up here. Nolan, what are you thinking about that?
The tires can start to kick in very early, around 5 to 10 laps is the earliest that can really start to affect your car, and that's when the outside line really starts to come into play as Kling trying to tuck into a hole between Dirty and then Gaithright that really wasn't there. And that will only other one for Wachinski up the bottom side. Kling bobbles middle of turn 2 and washes up. That will give an easy run to Joshua Gaithright, and now the front line number 15 car powers through on the outside line. Is trying to make something down into turn number 3, but Causey is starting to slowly pull a little bit further away, but it is out of turn 4. where the front line Mustang really starts to close on in, and look at that, really in a 10th and a half by the time the hit start finish, and to the inside is Gaithright down for turn number 1, and it will be the number 89 car to power through into first place.
And then power through, he did get a solid run coming off of that turn, allowed him to get that car right up to the outside where he needed to be. And Severa now takes his car down to the inside, and he's going to try to get a run here for the leaders. You know, it's interesting as these tires heat up, these guys, they're going to actually able to get, you got two things going on. Some guys' tires are coming right in. It looks like some guys are starting to get a little bit loose. So those two interesting conditions are going to make for some, definitely, for some exciting racing as we go now with 10 to go in this stage.
10 laps to go in stage number 2, halfway through that second stage as well, as it's now 3 wide for the race lead. Trouble, turn 2. Kling on the outside wall, gets into Wachinski. Wachinski gets nicked. He's going to spin back up into traffic and just slam John Mullins into the outside wall. A multi-car crash will put us under the yellow flags for the 4th time.
I was involved in that too in some way. It looked like he was, I don't know if he had lost control over his car or what, but definitely I think we just tore up some cars. Let's get a rewind here and see if we can figure out what exactly took place.
It was Eric Kling that kicked all of this off. I would not be surprised if this was all by himself. That has been a very common occurrence here in this race and in previous races in the season as well. Watching Kling of the number 95 T-Mobile Mustang, you sure enough, yeah, got loose, overcorrected, outside wall, bounces down right to Wachinski, and that clip with Wachinski sends the 5 car right back up into traffic where he just got clobbered by John Mullins.
The one car that I saw that actually looked like he made it through that unscathed, and for this point, at least right now, way to go, Wayne Grassi. I mean, if anybody needed to get through that unscathed, it would definitely be Grassi in that 7 car. Just unfortunate luck for Wachinski is like he had nothing he could have done, but Kling did lose it. Ironically, Powell looked like he had kind of stepped out on that same turnabout at the same time, but able to gather his up. Man, Kling not having so much luck with his.
And I think that will end John Mullins' day as well. Eric Kling is still running out there on the racing circuit. Wachinski, I believe, is also still sitting in pit road. Sorry, he has just actually come down to pit road along with Mark Johnston. Barrick Uphold have also come on down. Now, Wachinski does have a bit of a smoky motor, so it's no surprise that he came down into pit road. Just watching Frank Flores and Adrian Spurish also entering pit lane now. So, it's like you said, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's an honest mistake from Eric Kling. It's a very easy one to make with the 670 horsepower package, with us not using, the very high downforce setup anymore. I think that is worth noting here, right? I mean, this is the first time that the ISCA has come to Auto Club since the introduction of the 670 horsepower package. That has been the name of the game all week so far throughout this the race in NIS. It has very much been the case of, you've got people that have been, people getting loose. Hot track temperatures has got a big part to do with that, and not the hottest track temps here today, but this is still a very difficult track to get right, where those types of mistakes are very, very common.
And the biggest thing here is throttle control. These cars will snap on you, and you got two choices. Either you save it or you lose it, because it's like when it comes back, it snaps right around hard right on you, and then it sends you into the wall. So you see a lot of these guys as they're going around the turns, that you see a little puff of smoke, or you'll see the tail end of that car kind of step out a little bit. And I think that was a prime example of that happening. So now, as we get ready to go, I think we'll have 5 laps left in this stage. This is going to be an interesting shootout here for the end of stage 2.
About the same distance that it was for the ending of stage number 1, as a matter of fact. At the end of that stage, that was certainly an exciting one, so we're hoping that it'll be the same here tonight. And Joshua Gaithright has elected outside line for this restart. That is rather interesting. Some more people are looking to migrate up to the top side, and I have a feeling the reason why that is happening there is because it's just the more stable line to pick on the restarts.
Yeah, Roger. I think these two guys right here seem to be working together pretty good. So, I mean, we're both seeing Gaithright and Causey out front. These aren't two names that we're used to calling out, so they're definitely having a strong showing here tonight. As the lights all off on the pace car, it looks like we're going to be ready to go green flag racing. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how well these two are going to play well with others, I guess is what I'd say. Severa it doesn't seem like he is in a big rush to get to the back like he said under that interview. Looks like he's going to be right up here in the mix of things.
6 laps to go and we take the green flag. Pace car is down and in, this time by. And now we look towards that front line. 89 machine up on the high side. And we are going to be back to green flag racing. Already cutting in across the nose of Joseph Causey, who's going to migrate up to the high lane now to try to tuck in line and get the draft.
Yeah, that 88 and 89 car just doing exactly that. Looks like he's now going to cross over, come on back to the inside. That outside line really starts to work after you got 2 or 3 laps. But right now, these guys getting up there now, just trying to make this thing stick a little bit as we can try to get this stage 2 in the books.
Stage 2 going to be in the books in just a little while. 5 to go in the second stage, and now, despite Causey getting a better run on Gaithright through the opening lap of this stage, that 89 car already starting to close. Look at how powerful the draft is down the front straightaway. But there will be no move made for the race lead. Looks like Gaithright is looking to be a little bit more patient than this one. He's going to be tucking in a line, maybe seeing how can you carry the momentum out of these corners and down the back straightaway. Gap is closing again, under 10th of a second. Does he look for it? No, hits the binders, backing out of it. I like this. He's being patient, making sure he is not the one being put under fire for a stage 1 by the end of it.
Yeah, but you know, if you look right behind him, you've got a heck of a fleet approaching with names like Schaffner, Powell, Severa. These guys are all right there, and he's got a little beat on his back. And right now, that's all they're focusing on. They're just setting him up, and they're just waiting. And you're going to get a heck of a run here as we get ready to go and have 2 to go here in this stage and get ready to close pit road.
It's Mustang City up in front with Mustangs in the top 4 drivers. From there, you got your last 2 manufacturers with a Toyota in 5th and a Chevrolet down in 6th place, as well as duking down for 7th. Now, Causey looking up high as Dirting gonna go through to the race lead with this one. Took the 4th place away all the way down the front straight through 1 and 2, and he takes the lead now down out of turn number 4.
Exactly that run we were talking about. Dirting going out there getting there early, but I think Severa and those guys are probably going to wait a little bit. Yep, here's Severa now getting ready to make his move as he's going to go ahead and get a little bit of that draft help off the back of Gerting, and then he's going to try to run right down on the inside of him as Schaffner leads the way down on the inside of that turn coming around turn 3.
And there is Schaffner now on the low side. Gaithright up top with Causey in the middle. 3 wide for a brief moment out of turn number 4. Gaithright backed out from the high side. Pit road is closed with 2 to go.
Pit road is closed, and looks like Gaithright's bringing his way, showing the way with Severa. Severa now knowing exactly the position that he's in, very comfortable in this position, ready to make his move as it looks like that 88 car going to be down on the inside. Josh Schaffner also coming back on the inside, trying to make that inside groove work, as well as Grassi actually joins them as well.
And you saw how loose Causey got out of turn number 2 that last time by. That costed him big time. And it caused guys like Schaffner and Grassi to put them 3 wide out of turn number 4. Powell now swinging it out. And he'll lose the 3rd position as a result of that to Gaithright as we start the final lap of the race. There goes the likes of Chris Severa looking to go 2 for 2 on the stages.
Nice crossover move, not Schaffner, but Gaithright not giving him any room, Dirtling. I mean, just making sure that he's going to press this issue as these two are going to be beating and banging down the back stretch all the way home. Cervera now getting that dominant edge. Looks like he is going to go ahead and secure his second stage unless Gert can get that run on the inside.
Oh, he's throwing it in! The 31 car pushing up the track. Does he get into Cervera? Up to the top shelf. Cervera pulls clear, and he will go and take the run. They're wrecking behind. Gaithride's hard to the outside wall. Takes out Joseph Kazi. They rack across the line.
Looks like stage 2 ended just like stage 1. Tore up some more cars as we did, looks like, get that stage in the books. It just cost some drivers a little bit more than I think they bargained to pay for.
And we're going to look at the replay here and look up to the top shelf as Brooks Dirty just sends it in. It was Powell that got into Gaithride and sent him into the outside wall, and Gaithride just came down, and nothing Kazi could have done there.
You know, the 88 and 89 were just working so good together, and then looks like they just worked real bad together right there. It's like a little oil and water mixture there in that infield there, Nolan.
Such as the hazard of trying to get yourself sorted with some of the guys in this field. That's what you got to do, though, right? You got to make yourself available at the end. And, I mean, kind of says it all. I mean, Powell just tried to run up Gaithride, and Gaithride just ran out of room. Not a whole lot he could have done there about that one.
Yeah, that's just what happens when you have multi-lane racing. But one thing that's interesting is I think we need to take a break and get a word from our sponsors here real quick as we're undercalling.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Under caution once again, this time for the end of the stage number 2, which ended in a much more fiery fashion than we saw stage 1 coming to a close. It was a bit of an interesting run, to say the very least, to end out that first stage as well. I mean, you didn't think it would be quite so hectic, but there you go. That's what it ended up being. And goes to show just how wild these stage finishes can be. And, of course, don't forget, you had yourself that very, very crucial 3Y finish that netted Clayton Hoffman the championship of the Bucket Cup Series, indicating that the ending of this race overall could be just as tight, if not more so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of speechless after watching that, what just transpired. We realized that the end of stage 2 was going to be kind of a Wild West shootout, but man, boy, did these guys come with guns a-blazing. Nothing short of spectacular for the people that are watching this race tonight, because these guys are definitely racing like they're racing for a championship, you know?
Pace car lights are out. Barrick Uphold for the first time, I believe it is ISCA career, going to be taking the lead for the restart. And he has taken what has so far been a tried and true strategy, taking the outside line.
Wouldn't want to be that guy right now, as he is going to have the fire of the field breathing down his neck. Now getting ready to come, because what's going to happen now is hopefully we'll be able to get this thing settled and figure out if guys going to be up front, if they want to run in the back, because hopefully we'll get some green flag pit stops in here. We've had a few cautions so far, but now I think maybe everybody's settled down enough. They got the fuel and tire data that they need, and maybe we can just take this thing and pretend that we're just driving to grandma's house.
Pace car is going to be coming around through turns 3 and 4. You've got Uphold up top, Flores on the bottom. So 2 shake and bake teammates to lead us to the green flag. And then a G&G driver along with the front line guy just up top. Sorry, Brooks Durden not with front line, so my apologies to Mr. Durden on that one. Pace car going to be down in the pit row, though, and it will be Barrick Uphold to take us to the green flag here from the Auto Club Speedway. And it is time to go back racing once again. This time it was a bit of a longer start, but Uphold is clear for the lead. And will he jump down low? He's not going to be able to get there in time. Brooks Durden already looking to get back to the point before they even hit turn 1.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, Nolan, on that inside line, but they just didn't seem to get that launch that they needed in order to make that thing stick on that restart. But nonetheless, here we go. That's going to cause Uphold to be 3 wide here as we get racing to start to try to shake this out.
Uphold taking the low sign through turns 3 and 4, trying to retake his race lead. And it will be lap 45 to go into Barrick Uphold. Maybe, not quite. Brooks Durden pulls the high side, and he will be the new leader in stage number 3 officially at the stripe, but it is not done yet. Uphold was still dead even as they hit the braking zone for turn number 1, but Durden pulled clear.
Wayne Grossi got himself fighting up here for a podium spot as he's got that number 7 car in that 3rd position, looking very good on a solid run. Looks like he is not just going to settle for 3rd, as he's going to try to get that thing dropped a little bit more to get up to the front. Now in 2nd place.
You saw Gary Adamson taking a bit of a slide at the back after he clipped the apron through turn 2. No caution, though. We keep this thing green. 3 wide for 3rd place, and Brian Johnson already clear. Up on the top shelf, Severa, though, looking to charge back through the field. He just cleared outside line from Barrick Uphold as Grossi looks for the inside on Brooks Durden, and it looks like he'll take the lead. The Pennzoil Chevrolet going to be pushing up across Durden's nose through 1 and 2. Here comes Durden with the run. Brian Johnson following suit as well. Severa still has got a good run up top in his number 62 for Mustang, and there it is. To the inside goes Brian Johnson trying a gun for 2nd.
Yep, but Grassi is definitely leading this field, something that I don't think we've had a chance to say, so congratulations, Wayne. Keep that thing out of the wall. Let's see if we can't get some groceries tonight.
Johnson pushing up towards Durden, almost putting the 31 car to the outside wall, but Brooks Durden holding strong with it, and Brian Johnson once again back to the low side. He'll wash up. And Brooks Durden just gets the nose in there and prevents Brian Johnson from being able to get a meaningful run, especially now that Brooks Durden has got the draft from Wayne Grossi all the way down into turn number 3. And this is the type of race that we can really expect to see throughout at least this first portion of stage 3 here until we hit green flag stops, or if we hit green flag stops, which we did over in the Thursday night race after things all started to settle on now. I would expect it to be no different tonight.
Everybody should be at this point just trying to find that good race rhythm that's going to save their time and allow them to be efficient, because not only are you trying to save your tires, but you're trying to not burn your fuel up at the same time. So drivers just patience. That's the key to this right now, because you're really going to start the race after we cycle through those pit stops.
You see even Al Kozlowski now starting to throw his hat into the ring, and the Speedway Angels Chevy is now looking to run that bottom lane with Brian Johnson already looking to challenge him up top as well. And I like what Brooks Durden is here. He's trying to work both lines, giving the draft to the inside line for the first portion when he has to track back out to make sure he can make the turn with apex. Goes up, gives that draft to the outside lane. That's a good strategy right now, because that means he's trying to work both lines. Who was that was going off? I think that was Mullins. Check, I know it's Kenny Thompson way down to the inside out of turn number 2, but he did save it. Keep it green.
Roger. And now you mentioned Keselowski. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nolan, but I believe Al was actually had one of the faster times put on the board there during practice. So I was kind of wondering if he was just going to sit back because, this guy is a strategist, if anybody out there is. So it's going to be interesting to see how Keselowski rolls his hand. If he's going to go ahead and dive to the front, or if he's just going to kind of try to stay, because I believe he's going to stay out and wait out long everybody else on field. That's what Big Al's predicting.
51 down, 49 to go this time by the line. We are now in the second half of this race, and Wayne Grossi tracking out with the lead still, and this is going to be a fierce fight for the ages here, as these guys have just no idea when to quit. Durden still looks to hold the inside line from Brian Johnson, with Al Keselowski looking to maybe throw one down the inside of Brian Johnson, his number 4 Chevrolet as well. This is where it is getting really, really interesting. Every time you see Durden track out, you have to wonder, will this be the time when he tries to push his luck a bit too much and puts Johnson into the outside wall?
But Grossi, every time he's making that number 7 car mighty wide, as he is attempting to block every racing surface out there beside him. But look who's sneaking into the picture is that 88 car of Al Keselowski's now coming into the picture, which is going to make his name ring in our ears a little bit. Severa, though, still tucked in right there in the 5th place position. Doesn't look like he's going to fall back any. Drivers, like I said, were just getting into this race rhythm, and Rossi is definitely going to do everything in his power to keep a hold of this race lead.
And Al Keselowski looks like he's given up the charge for 3rd place for the time being, and now Brooks Durden is going to be having to see if he can challenge for 4th place. Al Keselowski had a solid run that time by to get up the inside of Brian Johnson, but it didn't pay off. And now you can already see Keselowski starting to slip back into the clutches of that number 31 car, and that is where it can get very, very crucial, right? Because you got, guys like the 88 car that are really good on corner entry, not so much on the exit, though. That's where it kind of stalls out. And what I like here is that Keselowski seems to almost be clutching and coasting, and that's a good strategy, right? That helps to rotate the car just a little bit more. Didn't see that time by, but it is still a very prominent strategy elsewhere throughout the field.
Yeah, especially the rotation is key. Getting into that, like you said, he's clutching it, getting into that throttle, just keeping it as smooth as possible. That's what's going to save fuel. That's what's going to save your tires. Going to be interesting now because now we're already 14 laps into this stage. So, who's burned up, who's going to start making a move. This is going to settle out. You're going to want to try to figure out where you're going to be, and I think now it's time to start poking the bear a little bit.
Severa mentioned that he is going to be trying to have himself a solid run coming on around through this race, see if he can potentially lock out the championship. He's already got about 71 point gap back to Kenny Powell thanks to the stages, and that is only extended in this last stage as well. So with all that in mind, all Severa's got to do is finish in front of Kenny Powell. He's got this race. He's got this race and this championship won. The only way at the moment that Severa would falter and fall back would be if he finishes 10th place or lower, but that wouldn't even guarantee the championship goes to Powell. That would just get Powell back into mathematical possibility of being able to fight for a championship.
Well, how about this for Matt? That 62 car is now very dominant and prevalent in the rear view mirror of that 7 car. So that's probably the last thing Grossi wanted to see right now, because Severa is on a roll. And like I said, he likes to have that 62 car out front. He likes to be in the clean air. He runs better there. That's where he's used to being, and that's where I think he's trying to get to. But that 4 car, he is now going to find himself in a position where he's going to be battling with that 3rd place position for that 3-1 car coming up on the outside of him.
Grossi to the race lead, and there is Severa looking to try to take it around the high side, and that he does. Severa is back in the race lead right where he thinks he belongs, and I have to say, with him being up in the points lead, the statistics agree with that statement as well. Keselowski to the inside of Brian Johnson in turn 3, but he's still faltering every time he goes down low. Kenny Powell is going to be trying to see if he can charge up and give a fierce shove to Al Kozlowski and try to push him back towards into this field. But so far, it's not working so well. You got a good chunk of this field that is making higher, wider arcs into these corners. Kozlowski's not doing that. That's where he's losing all this time.
Yeah, these tires, they kind of go away and then they kind of come back. So once you get about 14, 15 laps on them, the car kind of goes through a handling transition. So I don't know if that's what we're seeing or what, as these guys now seem to be trying to find a slightly different groove to get around. But that Ford car, he is still faithful to that high line.
Powell looking to take a glance towards the high side, and I have to wonder how long it'll be until Kenny Powell tries to get past Al Kozlowski, because it's evident that he's not going to be able to make a much big of a run from where he's sitting at the moment. That being said, you've still got Chris Severa up in this race lead. Brian Johnson is going to look for the inside on Grossi, and it looks like that will put the number 4 car up into the second position down through turn number 3. You still got Kozlowski, this time for the inside of Durden instead of Grossi. That was for the 4th position. Oh, Durden outside wall. That scares Kozlowski all the way to the bottom of the racetrack.
And, you know, unfortunately, Nolan, when you lose that momentum right there, sometimes it's so hard to get that back, because depending on where you lose it at on the racetrack. But Kozlowski able to recover, get back in there. He looks like he's not even going to lose that lead pack. Got Schaffner definitely rolling in his back door. You know, Josh is definitely going to want to be up front where the excitement's at as well, because, you know, he is into this championship potential as well, candidate at least.
Fuel run is approximately 39 laps, so from this time by, if you do a little bit of fuel saving here, from here to the end, you are able to make it on fuel. Oh, Kozlowski gonna push up the track. That nudges Durden up wide and nearly clipped Wayne Grossi as well.
I think he might have made a little contact with the 7. Definitely the 7 knew he was there. But Kozlowski's not gonna bend. He is one of these guys that he's gonna hold his position, and we've seen that Grossi has been doing the same thing. So it'll be interesting to see how these two actually get around each other and how well they're going to play. But Schaffner right there going to go ahead and show himself on the inside and maybe take advantage of the run to get around Kozlowski.
And at this point, this is the largest grouping of cars you got throughout the entire field for the time being. You got Schaffner and Durden still looking to duke it out amongst themselves as Kozlowski falls to the back portion of this train in the top 7. Kenny Powell is still trying to make some more progress up the road as well. He just had the inside of Brian Johnson, but he backed off and allowed Johnson to have the run. And while that might have gotten Kenny Powell up in line, it left him under fire for Wayne Grossi. And now you can see Brian Johnson tracking out, I think, trying to get a run on the outside line, but instead just seemed to understeer wide more than he really helped by getting that big run.
Roger, as we are 63 laps into this, we'll run down this race order for you. The leader is Chris Severa with Brian Johnson in second. Kenny Powell is in third. Wayne Grossi a fourth. Brooks Dirtling in a fifth. Josh Schaffner sixth. Al Kozlowski seventh. Jay Hone eighth. Don Avery ninth. Barrick Uphold rounds out your top 10.
Pat goes a little bit further down the order. He's in 11th place. You got Aylin 12th, Olson, Adamson, Johnston, Strunk, Flores, Spurish. Well, the last cars on the lead lap, and it is looking like they'll be the last cars in contention for a race win as well. The only other car on track is Mario Lapinto, all the way down to 20th place, but he is 10 laps down from this field. And all the while, well, you've still got other drivers looking to make runs up here in the top group of this field. I mean, you still got Durden and Schaffner looking to run the high side as well. Grossi and Kozlowski are still there. You got a lot that is yet to be decided at the moment from Auto Club, and I have a feeling pit stops could be the game changer here tonight.
No, they always are, because you can win this thing or lose it based on your entry or exit the pit road. Because the one thing that these cars don't stop the best either, Nolan. So very good capability or possibility of guys even running through their pit stops. We've seen that happen before.
Lap number 65 going to be coming to 66 this time by, which will make it 35 laps left to go. From Auto Club, we are about to enter the final third of this race, and you still have got the question of pit stops for a good number of drivers in this field. Kind of taking a look at where this group in particular is sitting in relation to when we can expect them to come on down into pit road. Field window is about 39 laps. They're about just over halfway through their fuel windows now, so we're not expecting for them to come down for a good while yet, which means we're going to be seeing this on-track battle picking on up for a good while yet, and that is good for us. It means more entertaining news for us to talk about on course.
Absolutely, and the one thing that you do not want to do right now is you do not want an early pit, because if you're that guy that early pits, you'll definitely find yourself by yourself and possibly even a lap down. So this is the time where I'm guessing these guys are going to try to stay out until the last possible minute. Nolan, what are you guessing about that?
That's a very common strategy for some of these guys in this field, right? Especially the guys that tend to run more up in front. They like to run their tanks dry, and by doing so, they make sure that they are on the freshest possible tires at the end, so they're going to be the ones that are there at the end of the race to contend for race wins. This is a strategy that we have seen time and time again. Sometimes they'll see people try to come in maybe 2, 3, 4 laps sooner, but even that will only get you about a few seconds of extra space on the track, which could very easily shrink right back down. We saw that on Thursday. I would not be surprised if we saw that tonight as well.
Yeah, and I can't wait until we can actually talk to some of these guys at the end of this, because I'm imagining that the handling of that car is definitely gonna change as that tail end gets up in the air as that fuel level dissipates. Because the one thing you're fighting for, especially in this new package that we have, is you're trying to get as much weight on the back end of that car as possible, and that's just hard to come by, especially if you're burning gas out.
And even this front grouping at the moment is starting to kind of split apart, right? You got Severa and Johnson that are kind of running by themselves. You got Kenny Powell trying to close, but even Powell was slipping off at one point. I know that the guys further in the back of this are slipping off because Kozlowski's about to lose the draft. Rossi and Durden have effectively lost the draft. They're being more hindered by Dirtier than anything. And Severa was looking to pull away with that bad run from Brian Johnson, but so far Severa is in complete control of this race up in the race lead, and they're showing no sign of that anytime soon, as Schaffner's going to take the inside line away here from Al Kozlowski down in the turn number 3. So you've still got other guys that are still looking to battle out amongst themselves. Schaffner's trying to retake the 4th place that Al took over in turn 1.
Yeah, Schaffner and Kozlowski, they're just battling it out like two heavyweights. I'm like, hey, if you guys would just kind of like maybe just work with each other, you might even save your stuff a little more. But anyway, I guess they know more about what they're doing than we do. That's why we're sitting up here and they're down there.
Oh, look at the pinch there from Schaffner. That was great. That prevented Kozlowski from being able to track up and take full advantage of corner exit. And look at how much time that has now gained Schaffner. He's able to close right back up to the top 3.
Here comes Josh Schaffner. Now, Severa definitely, he's got to be aware. His spotter's probably telling him, hey, look, Schaffner's definitely in your picture. Now he's coming up on your relative every lap, getting closer and closer. But at some point, though, they're going to have to start to give themselves some space, because I'm assuming that those G&G guys are going to want to at least pit together, right?
I would be expecting nonetheless. Teammates pitting together is still not something that is uncommon, as in fact, Pattengale, Uphold, Adamson, Dirty were all in that last time by. Same with Frank Flores. So all of the Shake and Bake crew just came in this last lap by for pit stops, and that would put them to the end of this race on fuel. So already you've got the pit strategy starting to develop with a few of the drivers, particularly aboard the mid-pack, but developing nonetheless.
That's right. Green flag pit stops are underway. So no matter what happens now, the outcome of this race is not going to be affected by the pit strategy, but it could be still affected by a caution.
Late race cautions are not the most uncommon thing in the world. They're a heck of a lot more common than I think you'd like to expect. And Al Kozlowski is going to be pitting in this time by. So is Kenny Powell, all coming in. They're going to get around Adrian San Jose Arenas, who looks like will not be coming in a pit road. And now Josh Schaffner is in a pit road as well.
Interesting that Severa actually didn't pit with those with the GG guys. Well, Kozlowski's still out, so so okay, that makes sense. Powell pitted her.
Well, I think Al was going to be pitting in with Kenny, but he had to bail out because Arenas was kind of in his way on the racetrack. Now, you can't blame Arenas for that, right? I mean, he already had the pack of cars on his outside when Powell said he was going to be pitting in. I mean, you can't just track up 4 lanes in the middle of a corner when you got cars on your outside. That is not going to go over well at all. It was just a bad situation to catch these guys.
Yeah, and I don't think they wanted to advertise when they were pitting.
Exactly.
Ooh, the 4-car loses control on pit road.
Oh! So he has Brian Johnson, wrangles it back together, but a huge lockup, though, saw him clip the grass, and he's got a penalty from that. Speeding penalty for Brian Johnson. There's the huge lockup. You saw another one from Severa as well. Severa was lucky enough to get out of that. And Brian Johnson, no, he wasn't. Severa also locked up. This has actually huge championship implications here, Al. As your points leader, a speeding penalty, which will mean to stop and hold in pit road.
Like I said, these races are won and lost off of pit road, and that's just it. You know, you coming in, you want to try to get as much steam as you can, but unfortunately for Severa, he had a little bit just too much. Him and Johnson both are going to have to suffer with doing it all over again to come back down pit road and hold. And that's just, you know, you got that time is just running off the clock at that point. That's just not what you want if you're the dang race leader going into that.
I never thought we would see Severa, of all people, a driver that has been so consistent all season long, making such a bad mistake on pit entry. Now we're just waiting for Jay Hone to come on down to pit road, and we'll see where everything cycles through. But that is huge. I think that puts Severa all the way down in 15th. Well, we net 15th once everything cycles through.
You know, you drive for show, but you pit for dough.
The money stop. That was it. Talk about missing the mark. I mean, he locked up the brakes after the cones were. And so did Brian Johnson. I think Brian Johnson just got target fixation with Chris Severa. Neither of them realized the pit road speed limit started that early.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to stop these things, too. They don't just stop on a dime. But, yeah, that was a very, very interesting man, yeah, wow, what a turn of events. So like you said, we're just waiting on that 12 car now to come back up here on pit road, get this thing cycled through, and then we'll be able to see exactly what is going to be the benefit of this. Or who's going to receive the benefit of this, I should say.
So far, there's only 6 cars on the lead lap, but it is worth noting that one of those cars still is yet to pit. So when all of that cycles through, I think we're going to be having at least the top 10 all still on pit road here. You got Al Kozlowski and Wayne Grossi still battling them out amongst themselves for what will be net 4th place on the racetrack. And Grossi going to look for the inside as Kozlowski tracks up and out. Oh, and Kozlowski gets into Grossi out of turn number 2. And I thought they're going to run into each other because Kozlowski was just talking about wanting to work together. Well, that's not the way to go about it, is it?
It looks like they might have made just a little bit of contact, but yeah, these two guys.
Well, it definitely was.
Yeah, they're still out there being those heavyweight fighters. I guess they've been duking it out all day. And a little bit earlier on, Powell had a nice brush with the wall, so I don't know how much that's going to impact his car, if at all. But so far, I think everything is all shook up, if you know what I mean, Nolan.
And Jay Hone coming to pit road this time by. He was the last driver that we were waiting on to pit, and he is now, just now, coming on over into the box. So we'll see where this will kind of shake the field up and how bad that mistake hurt your points leader, Chris Severa, as Grossi and Kozlowski continue to battle it out on the racetrack, and there is no sign that this fight will give anytime soon. Grossi is looking to run the high side, and Kozlowski still trying to fight the bottom, and this is slowing both of them down, but Grossi has got every right to fight this one out.
Yeah, and currently Chris Severa being shown in 16th position and 1 lap down. Actually, no, he's not shown a lap down.
Well, that is because Hone just came into pit road, so Severa's got himself back onto the lead lap, but 33 seconds behind Kenny Powell. And now on board with Wayne Grossi. Look at him trying to close at the back end. Kozlowski blocking down the back straightaway. He does not want to let Grossi back through. And now the 88 car going to take it away into turn number 3. Grossi looking for the high lane, though. Severa is bumped back up to 15th place as Kozlowski bobbles out of turn 4.
Yeah, Kozlowski is definitely not going to give Grossi any room whatsoever. Like I said, these two guys have been battling it out pretty much all night, and it looks like that's not going to stop anytime soon. I figured after that first run of pit stops, they would have been like, hey, look, we just probably killed our tires. They're racing each other so hard, so let's work together. But that does not appear to be the case, none whatsoever, though.
Bit of an understatement there on that one. They are not working together by any stretch of the means, and they are not the only grouping that's like that. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th is also looking very tight together. That's the likes of Aylin, Olsen, Uphold, and Jay Hone all running in a big, long line down towards turns 3 and 4. You can see Ken Aylin up on the top shelf. Paul Olsen trying to battle it out for the 7th position out there at the moment with the likes of Eric Uphold now in 9th. Trying to make some more headway inside the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love to see these guys right here working together in that tight pack, because if these guys keep up what they're doing, I think they all could be in a pretty good payday. And all of these gentlemen could use the points, man. So hopefully, like, they won't trip each other up, and they'll actually be able to get pay dirt. We got Gary Adamson also behind those guys. Another guy who's been running. I think Gary might have lost a little bit and kind of like got a little squirrely there, but he's still battling his way back up here too.
Just going to be running some math calculations here. I just want to see where the point standings shake up now after the stages, right? Because that will be a very big decider if Severa will be winning this race tonight. He can still make up a few spots, but would it be enough to net the championship? Because he did get more stage points than Powell, it is worth noting.
Yeah, but Powell right now is your race leader, and it doesn't look like there's anybody out there that's really going to contend that, as he is pulling away from even Schaffner a little bit. So if Powell is able to hold on to this thing, should we go green and he become your race leader, and Severa finishes outside of the top 10, and Schaffner finishes in second. Yeah, waiting on that math there, no.
This is going to be a very big issue because Josh Schaffner is, of course, still up in second place, but only about a quarter of a second back. He's got some serious contention to get points, and it is worth noting that there is a 5-point spread from first to second place. That fight is not over by any stretch of the means.
And nor is the battle for the lead, because, we've interviewed Josh Schaffner quite a few times as well, both being in the leader circle as well as, second or third place. So tonight he is going to determine exactly where he's going to stand on that podium. I think if he's got anything to say about it, it's probably going to be in that first place. So he's just right now, as we're coming to 15 to go, he's just now biding his time, if you will, and just running this hill, watching Powell flying.
And you can still see battles shaking up everywhere you look throughout the track. You've still got 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. You, of course, have gotten the Grossi and Kozlowski battle, which has just caught and overtaken Brooks Durding. And don't forget the top 2 as well. That battle is still one of the closest ones on the track, and Schauder is actually going to look for the inside this time by into turn 3.
Yeah, Josh, no doubt, is definitely going to have to try some move at some point. He's got to try to close that distance on Powell. And you won't know how well your car is going to do until you actually get out front. So it'll be interesting to see how long he actually does stay behind Powell. Keselowski now definitely putting distance between himself and Grossi as he continues on his march up into third place.
So I have just discovered something pretty major about that pit error. Severa still has a chance to net the championship, but that is if Kenny Powell does not win this race. If Powell does not win this race, a 2-point deficit will keep Powell in the mathematical running order, and the title will not be over, assuming Severa cannot make the start at next week's race and the season finale over in Vegas. But if Powell finishes second, and Severa continues to make up ground as he is right now, Severa would win the championship with a 3-point margin that would be impossible to overcome.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Basically, yes. This has all of a sudden really kind of cracked this wide open, and I wonder if Josh Schaffner is aware of this, and what will this mean for Schaffner when he's trying to think about if he wants to go for a race win. That is, I think, going to be a very, very important thing to know, that Schaffner is no doubt trying to wrestle with himself. From the way he's been driving, though, he is absolutely wanting to go for it. I mean, he is right tucked up there with Kenny Powell, has the ability to get this done. If Powell finishes second place, he will be getting 433 points. And at the moment, Chris Severa would have 496 points.
And just like that, Josh Schaffner now tucked in on the inside of Powell, as he is now going to contend for the race lead. Powell, thinking better about it, is going to be able to try to hold him off. Looks like they might be using that lap car as a pick. Going to see how this works out. That's a pick and a pickle right there. Schaffner using the advantage on the inside line. Looks like he's going to have enough to close that distance. Now he's your race leader. Powell, this best opportunity right here for a crossover coming into this turn. Is he going to have it? Is he going to have it? Looks like Schaffner's going to hold enough to actually take that lead. Ladies and gentlemen, a new car has taken the lead. Josh Schaffner becomes your race leader for the first time tonight. Interesting to note, too, Nolan, as these guys just went by Frank Flores, didn't Frank Flores start like in the second position at the start of this second stage?
That he did.
Interesting to see why he is off the pace.
Well, he didn't pit under the second stage caution. That was the big thing that got him up in that position in the first place, was the fact that he hadn't pitted. And now he finds himself one lap down as a result of being off cycle like that.
That's why they call them strategies, because they don't always work.
It's 10 laps to go from Auto Club, and you can see Powell still trying to close the gap to Josh Schaffner, but that gap is starting to extend. And the way it sits, Severa wins by 3.
Kenny Powell's he's not going to give up. He's going to run the tires off of that 2-4 car to try to catch Schaffner. You can believe that. And in this track, you have to be dialed in. You know, just one slight miscue, one slight inattentive moment in Nolan, the whole thing could just go up in smoke, if you will. So still far from over as we're coming up to 7 to go. But Powell definitely going to do everything he can to keep Schaffner from just getting an easy win with this.
He's not letting him run away with it. He's keeping him nice and honest, courtesy of that draft, trying to pull right up to the back bumper, but it has not been an easy time for Kenny Powell to try to get back by him here into turn 3. Powell trying to fight the high side, but he's going to just go too wide. Can't cut it in enough. And Josh Schaffner pulls out another 2/10 as a result.
Powell's still going to come back. He knows, he understands that if he has any shot whatsoever of making this, he is going to have to close that distance and win this race. Interesting, if you look at riding alone with Kenny Powell, that Powell's actually in 4th gear.
And I like what I'm seeing there. He's making sure that he can get the acceleration off of these corners. Some guys like to have those cars with a fourth gear setup, which can really help a track have to brake a little bit more, right? And this is one of those tracks. You back it up quite a ways. I mean, down the back straightaway, you hit 190 miles an hour, and you're backing the ball all the way to 158. You see him power now up the inside of Schaffner, exit of turn numbers 3 and 4. Powell is not done fighting for this win. I think he knows that he needs to win this race to stay in this fight.
They are giving us a show. That's right. They are putting on a show tonight. It's usually we get somebody putting on a clinic, but tonight these guys are definitely putting on a show, and that's awesome because as we're coming to 5 to go, somebody's going to have to make a move. Nolan, you're running out of time. This is go time. I mean, if ever there were, this is it.
Schaffner up in front, but Kenny Powell is still tucked right back in behind, and this is so far not going Kenny Powell's way. He needs to get in front of Josh Schaffner, but Schaffner is just so good on defense. The 50 car is able to just keep just enough in front of him that Powell just is stuck by the time he gets in the corner entry and is unable to execute a proper lunge down the inside. Mark Johnson is the car they're catching out in his MRN Ford Mustang. And it looks like Powell is going to anticipate where the lap car is going to be and go up high. Schaffner, though, has to pin it to the low side. And it turns out they didn't catch lap traffic as quick as I think Powell was expecting.
Yeah, that's the thing. These lap cars are going to be used as picks. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you want a chance to but you got to make sure that you don't allow Powell to get momentum off of that. It's one thing to set a pick, it's something totally different to launch him. So got to be careful. Schaffner's going to have to be very careful about that as we're like 5 laps to go, Nolan.
5 laps left in this race. Powell to the inside. There's a huge lunge trying to get up the inside of Josh Schaffner, but the number 50 car tracking out to the outside wall. There was an effort, but it was not enough. 4 to go this time by. The good news is the white flag is not waving yet.
Powell has definitely got to be wanting a caution at this point, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think the only thing he's going to have, the only flag he's going to see is going to be that white one, and I'm imagining he is definitely going to want to be in front of Josh Schaffner when that white flag does fly, because simply put, we're running out of time. We just don't need anybody else to do anything on this track that's going to be a bonehead move, as we have an epic battle right here for first and second place. Powell trying to win this race. He has to win this race if he wants any shot whatsoever of a championship run.
3 to go, outside line, and this is where it could all come to a big head at the moment. Kenny Powell starting to lose ground. The gap is down to 3.5 tenths, trying to close up, sends it in on the exit of corner number 2, and that will allow him to have a bit more momentum down the back straightaway. Close it down from 3.5 tenths to 1/4 to 1.5. Down in the turn number 3. And now Powell is right back in this fight, looking to charge for it. About 0.14 of a second separating these two drivers at the exit off of turn number 4 with 2 laps to go from Auto Club.
And Powell's definitely going to run this thing down the end of that corner. He is not going to be braking until the last possible minute. He's going to want to get a best possible rotation of this thing coming off of that corner. He can't bobble, he can't weave. He's got to get all of those 4 tires on the ground, no slippage if he has a shot. Now closing, trying to get up onto the bumper of Josh Schaffner as we're getting ready to come to the white flag. Can he close the gap?
White flag coming this time by Josh Schaffner. Is getting further and further clear, but there's still 1/4 of a second and 2 miles left to settle this battle that could be for a championship. Final lap is in the air this time by. Powell is not close enough to have a lunge down in the turn numbers 1 and 2. Look at how high he enters in turn number 1, trying to get the momentum, closing on in 3.5 tenths, down to 3, trying to close that gap with the draft. Is it gonna be enough though? Down the back straightaway, it's not gonna be enough to lunge it into turn number 3. If he's gonna have anything for him, it'll have to be in 3 and 4. 2/10 under that now, but the gap is only going to grow as they exit turn number 4. Schaffner wins the Charles Shaw 200 and Auto Club, and with that, Chris Severa will be your ISCA Tucson Sound Art Cup Series champion in 2022 for the opening season of the year. You talk about an underdog driver. We did not expect that he would be able to take that momentum and that huge pit mistake, but he made it work. And Severa, I think, has just netted himself his first title of the season.
Wow, what a finish! What a battle! That was a heck of a race. Wow. So our running order is Schaffner wins this thing. Powell second. Al Kozlowski is going to come out in third. Brooks Derling fourth. Wayne Grassi fifth. Way to go, Grassi. Don Avery sixth. Jay Holmes seventh. Paul Osen eighth. Ken Allen ninth. Robert Pattengill 10th place.
With that, you got Barrick Uphold, Gary Adamson, Chris Severa, and Ryan Strunk were the last cars to finish on the lead lap, with Mark Johnson in 15th. Frank Flores was 16th. There you got Adrian San Jose Arenas. He was the last driver on the track for us here tonight, with Mario Lapinta in 18th. Kenny Thompson was 19th. Brian Johnson rounded out the top 20.
Looks like Joshua Gaithright, Joshua Cosby, Eric Kling, Greg Wachinski, John Mullins, and Kyle Green will round out our field. None of those guys finishing anywhere near the lead lap. Bad night for those guys. Great night for Severa. Disappointing night for Powell. Looks like Josh is pulling over into the winner's circle.
And that he is, and I tell you what, it was a solid run for a lot of the drivers out there in this field tonight. So we're going to see if we can't get a chat with some of those podium drivers. We'll start from the bottom, and we'll work our way up. Al Kozlowski joins us up now in the broadcast booth. And Al, a solid race for you tonight. Started 18th place, and you finished this thing up on the podium.
I mean, I pitted crazy at one point and dropped back in the back at 20th position, and it's just fun. And this is the funnest I've had in a minute.
I'll tell you what, I think the reason why this race was so fun for a lot of us was with that brand new 670 horsepower package. How do you think that changed the racing up compared to the last time we came here to this place?
Well, the car is hard to handle. You've got to be a wheel man. You got to steer this thing. I mean, be kind of cautious on the pedal, on the gas pedal a little bit, so you don't spin out. It's a handful.
A handful indeed, but you certainly seem to make the most of it there here tonight. Next week, it's the final race of the season in the gambling capital of the world. What's your thoughts coming over into Vegas?
Man, I love Vegas, and I look forward to talking to you again next week, because I know if all the cards are right, and I would bet on that 88, because I think I'm going to run it.
Anybody like to shout out for us here tonight, Al, before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Chris Severa. He put this setup underneath me, and it was really good tonight. And thanks to both him and Brian for getting those speeding penalties on pit road. That gave me a podium position. Kenny for putting this thing on. Of course, Nolan and Al, you guys for doing that, and Rob in the back that doesn't get enough credit. Butt Kicker and Speedway Angels.
And thank you all for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congratulations on a third place. Best of luck in the season finale. And, well, with that, we move on to our second place finish of the night. Kenny Powell and Al, I'll toss this one down to you.
Kenny Powell, this is Big Al up in the booth. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Al.
Man, my heart goes out to you. Just almost there, just so close, man. So what happened there?
Man, I hate to blame it on a lap car, but yeah, that lap car kind of changed the position for Josh. Had just caught me, a couple of laps right before that, I guess, and I can't put it all on him. It was I chose the wrong horse, I guess, and I didn't know which way he was going. I had kind of determined I was going to go high around him, and he just stayed high too long and lost momentum. And coming out of that corner, Josh got me. And man, once the tires wear in and the dirty air, it was. I spent the rest of the lap trying to figure out how I was going to get it done, and I just came that short.
Yeah, and that short, because with that second place finish, all but ends your chance for that championship. So that's also got to be another disheartening blow. How you think you're going to recover from that one?
Well, it was a long shot. Chris has run a real good season. I knew I was going to be chasing him most of the season. So yeah, I kind of knew I'd probably be sitting in this situation right here. But second and third place is kind of close too, and that's still a battle.
Well, there are some cliches that they say about second and third place, but definitely going into Las Vegas next week. What are your thoughts? How you feeling? You feeling like you're taking good momentum? Second place finish, that is awesome. So what are you thinking about Vegas?
Vegas is another one that I really like. I hadn't put the track on or the car on the track yet, so we'll see what we get. But I like Vegas, and I expect good things. And hopefully, I'll be talking to you again up here next week.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, Mr. Powers, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Absolutely, Tucson Sound Art, Robert Packingale, you guys that did the broadcast for me, Al, Nolan, Rob, of course, my team G&G Racing, Channel 2 for this week, and I'm missing somebody, but man, I'll get them next time if I did. It's been great. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Powell. Good evening.
All right.
And with that, we're going to move on to your race winner at the end of the night. Josh Schaffner joins us up here in the broadcast booth. And Josh, what a fight between you and Kenny Powell for the overall race win. I mean, that was certainly something to watch. You just couldn't get away from him.
Yeah, it was a great race and a really, kind of a pack race there. The first 2/3 of it. Hate to see what happened to some of the guys there on pit road, but it's a broken record. We talk about this every week in these long races. You got to be perfect. And Kenny and I did a great job all race. Just kind of staying in that lead group and had clean pit stops, got in, got out, and then I was kind of shocked to see it was going to kind of boil down to just he and I. And hated to see that lap car there. That was about the time I closed in. I wanted to make a move. Kenny mentioned the tire wear. I wanted to make a move before the tires got too wore because it'd be more difficult. And I just felt like from the previous run, his car might have been a little snugger than mine, and I thought if I get out front of him, it'd make it really difficult for him to get back around me. And that's just kind of the way the race played out.
So just like the Thursday night race, it was a bit chaotic in the first two stages, a few cautions here and there, and pretty much green throughout the entirety of stage number 3. What do you think it is that kind of contributed to that trend throughout this week?
Well, it's just close racing, and the cars are, they got some edginess to them. It's just something I think we're all trying to learn with this new car is just how to, when you get in a sideways, when you lose the rear end, just how to handle that. And you see some of us kind of do some long, slow slides to the left, and we got some that are, we can end up in that really quick, violent snap right hook here, and it's just a victim of close quarters, and when you get all that dirty air around you, that's one thing. I was just trying to learn during the race that just where cars are around you, your car can just really do some unpredictable things, and just trying to learn. And I think we're all on a learning curve. There were some really good cars out there tonight, and I personally think there's probably 12, 13 cars that were fast enough to compete tonight, but we had to keep a clean car and finish the race and not have any mistakes along the way.
And anything you want to thank us for tonight, or do you just want to focus up now and focus up on Vegas?
No, definitely want to thank everyone at ISCA, Nolan, UL, and just everyone that on the broadcast, Kenny for running the league, and Tucson Sound Art. We wouldn't be able to do this without all their support. And different looking car tonight. I got to thank Smith's Farms. They're a staple on the car week in, week out. And we got the Plenish brand on the hood, and excited to be looking for healthy food items and some of the work we do at Pioneer in the food industry and to improve the health and the food we put out there each year. That's great to have them on board. And Pioneer's back on the quarter, and I got to thank G&G and Channel 2. And I know Chris did a lot of work on this setup for one this week, and we all kind of made a few small tweaks and made it our own. But Car's been fast all week, and wish I could have had a better run Thursday. Just didn't have enough time practice, but was great to get out here tonight and put a whole race together.
And thank you, Josh, for taking the time to join us here tonight. Congratulations on another race win, and best of luck in the season finale.
Thanks, guys.
Well, it looks like we might not get the opportunity to talk to your confirmed champion, Chris Severa, at the end of the night, but we'll definitely get a chance to talk to him next week. But from now, here at the Auto Club Speedway and the Charles Shaw 200, for myself, Dola Rempel, and Alfonso Nixon, along with Rob Melnick down in the broadcast booth, I want to thank you all for joining us for more ISCA Tucson Sound Art Cup Series action. We'll see you next week for the season finale in Vegas.